This is a sports catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather. Hello, there, Jeff Cutter driving. Welcome you to another sports catastrophe on this date. And on this day, February 7th, in the year 1998, the Olympics were coming to Japan for the third time, as the 1998 Winter Olympics were held in Nagano on the northern island of Hokkaido. And it was fun in Japan. Now, Japan had previously hosted the 1964 Summer Olympics and the 1972, the 64 Olympics in Tokyo and the 72 Olympics in Sapporo. But Nagano was happy to get it and all that. This Olympics would have over 2,100 athletes in 72 nations competing. Women's ice hockey, curling, and snowboarding were all introduced in these Olympics. Countries such as Azerbaijan, Kenya, Macedonia, Uruguay, and Venezuela made their debut at the Winter Olympics. All that. So Japan was hoping for something out. Other candidates for 98 were Aosta, Italy, Jaca in Spain, Östersund, Sweden, Salt Lake City in the US, and Sochi, Russia. After round one of voting, Nagano was in the lead with Aosta and Salt Lake City tied for last. Aosta was eliminated in the first round. In the second round, Nagano narrowly took first place, but Spain lost out. They were the lowest. And then round three, Nagano and Salt Lake City went to the final vote as Östersund was eliminated. And anyway, Nagano nipped Salt Lake City at the line 46-42, so they end up hosting the Olympics. It was huge and all that. They wanted to make it games for the heart and all that. Of course, a lot of people would know the economics and all that. And transportation. Nagano were in the Japanese Alps and gets large snowfalls each year, so it was an important challenge. But they managed to get everything going with the bullet trains and all that, helping out and all that. So they were marketing 4 outlets: Suki, Noki, Leki, and Suki. That's the snowlets. For the 4 elements: fire, air, earth, and water. So, ticket sales, there was a cost overrun as usual. Sports sites were huge around the Nagano area with their competition, the torch relay, and all that. So, 72 nations came to the Olympics. The United States had 186 athletes, Japan had 156, whereas Canada had 144, which is amazing. So, anyway, there were a lot of things going on. But the weather did cause havoc, as many alpine skiing races, snowboarding, and biathlon were actually delayed. The men's downhills were delayed by 5 days. So, alpine skiing really had it. Anyway, the opening ceremony happened. And one of the most iconic moments of the Olympics, other than the torch being lit, was the presentation of the opening ceremony. And one of the key moments in the opening ceremony was a kind of a sumo ritual to stomp out the evil spirits. Now, famed Japanese sumo wrestler Takano Hana, who was a big deal, actually was supposed to do the sumo stomping ceremony, but he caught ill. Next in line was famed American-born sumo wrestler Akebono, aka Chad Rowan. So he did the stomping ceremony for the Olympics, and it was fun. And then Midori Ito, who was a Japanese figure skating icon and got silver at the 92 Winter Olympics, was chosen to light the torch that she did. So it was just amazing and all that. So that was the opening torch and all that. So, of course, they had the closing ceremony 16 days later with Akihito, the Emperor of Japan, entering things and all that. So 24 nations won at least one medal. So in that regard, Germany had the most medals and the most golds with 12, which was a shock to a lot of people. But mostly because of alpine skiing, speed skating, and luge. They knew they had everything going for them. Well, they had a pair of podium sweeps, as in they won the gold, silver, and bronze, so that helped them with the medal count. Norway was second with 25. Russia was third with 18 medals. The host Japanese won 5 gold, silver, and 4 bronze for 10 medals. So, anyway, Australia actually won a bronze in alpine skiing, which was huge. Denmark won their first ever medal, silver at women's curling, losing to Sandra Schmirler of Canada. Bulgaria and the Czechs won their first gold medals. Bulgaria won in women's biathlon. The Czechs were the men's hockey champions. So there's a lot of sports going on and all that. There was a tie when Canada and Italy's two-man teams both tied at 3 minutes 37.24 seconds. No silver was awarded, so that was just weird. Curling was a demonstration sport past few Olympics, but now finally they decided to have it as a full-fledged thing. Canada won gold at the women's championship with Sandra Schmirler. And Switzerland won gold in the men's competition. So that's what happened. In hockey, Canada and the United States were expected to do well because obviously those are the two nations that were going to be benefiting from the fact that their best on best, their NHL stars, were allowed to be in the Olympics. The Americans didn't do so well. They took 7th and then they trashed their hotel room after. Whereas Canada got to the semifinals and ran into a hot Dominik Hasek, who was proving why he wanted to be the most valuable player of the NHL. Canada wouldn't even win a medal as they would lose in the bronze medal game to Finland, and the Czechs beat the Russians in the gold medal game 1-0. Meanwhile, in the women's thing, Canada and the United States were expected to meet in the final, which they did, and the U.S. shocked Canada 3-1. Speed skiing was one of the huge things. Hermann Maier took a massive fall in one of the alpine skiing events, but he still mustered up courage days later to win his second gold medal of the Olympics at the time. Ski jumping was huge because Japan was expected to do well, which they did, picking up 3 medals. Snowboarding finally made its debut in the Olympics, and in the giant slalom, which 2 men raced down the hill to try to do it in the fastest time. Ross Rebegiati of Canada was the first ever gold medal winner in snowboarding. One problem though, his gold medal was taken away because his drug test showed he had doped for marijuana. However, due to the fact that marijuana wasn't really a performance-enhancing drug, and the fact that Ross said that he had secondhand smoked it, they convinced the IOC and they gave him his gold medal back. So it was a solid Olympics for the country of Japan. And it wouldn't be their last, as in 2020 Tokyo would host the Olympics. Unfortunately though, it would be in 2021 technically because of the whole COVID thing. But still, I mean, Nagano hosted a very decent Olympics. Sure, they had cost overruns, but who doesn't? So that's all I gotta say about that, and I am Jeff Diamond Adieu.